Blatant anti-Semitism on America's campuses and communities. Why is this happening? You'll find out on Truth and Liberty.
Welcome to the Truth and Liberty Show, where trusted leaders bring biblical insights to important issues to help you stand for truth and effect godly change in our nation and in our world.
Welcome to Truth and Liberty. I'm your host, Bishop E.W. Jackson. Great to be with you again today. Thank all of you for your prayers and your support and all that you do to make this possible. And praise God for Andrew Womack Ministries that is having an impact on our nation and around the world. Anti-Semitism. We all know about it. The most famous instance of it was World War II, when Hitler literally sought to destroy the Jewish people. To wipe out every Jew on earth. And there have been other pogroms. We'd seen the Inquisitions, or heard about, certainly, the Inquisitions that had happened in European countries. Jews were forced to convert and driven from these countries, and in some cases murdered. We know about Islam and some of the things that Muhammad did, particularly in the earlier days of Islam, when he was getting it started to wipe out the Jewish people. This is a phenomenon that goes all the way back to Scripture, doesn't it? All the way back to the very beginning, when the people who were idolaters saw Israel and the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, as a threat to them, to their land, to their security, to whatever. And it always wound up being that the Jews were the target, that they were the ones who had to be removed, destroyed. The book of Esther and Haman concocting a scheme to kill every Jew in Persia. So this is not new, but I have to tell you, as an American, this is a place where I think most Americans would have said, Jews are welcome. We don't even think about it. They're our neighbors, they're our friends, and they're just people going about fulfilling their traditions, and we respect that. And as far as I know, there's really not been any widespread problem, at least not here in the country. And I'm not suggesting that there's never been anti-Semitism in America, or that people haven't had hostility or animosity against Jewish people. But it's never been a widespread cultural phenomenon in our country where, we're kind of all in agreement that, all of our problems are the result of the Jewish people, and we just get rid of them and everything would be fine. Not like what happened in Germany, where the Jews became the foil for everything that had ever gone wrong in Germany, and that they were the ones that had to be removed if Germany was ever going to be the strong, vibrant, healthy nation, pure nation in Hitler's terms, that it had to be. But America? Anti-Semitism on American college campuses? Attacks on synagogues, attacks on people coming out of synagogues? I have to tell you, this is not something I would have anticipated. Not something I thought was going to happen. And if it were going to happen anywhere, I wouldn't have expected it to be happening on college campuses where, you think liberalism and compassion for other people and tolerance and all of these values that we hear espoused from the left would make a college campus one of the most welcoming places Jewish people could ever be. Well, apparently, once again, I think at least I, have underestimated the deceptive power of Satan, because he has somehow convinced a lot of our young people on college campuses, and a lot of the administrations on college campuses, that there's something inherently wrong with the Jewish people and with Israel. So the same mindset that they are the problem, that Israel is a genocidal nation, that the Jews are somehow racist and they're taking advantage of our country. We've even heard, coming from the likes of Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, that the Jews control the White House, and President Obama is doing the bidding of Benjamin Netanyahu, which hey, you have to have BBs for brains to believe that anybody is manipulating or using President Trump. If anything, he is a strong leader who has his own mind. And yeah, you may have a viewpoint or an opinion that you might share with him. And if he likes it, maybe he'll go along with it. But I don't think any of us thinks that President Trump is some kind of puppet that is dancing on anybody's string. It's just not, that's just, it doesn't even make sense. But yet, anti-Semitism would tell you, oh yeah, because you can never underestimate the manipulations and the machinations of these Jewish people. Folks, these are lies out of the pit of hell. And I tell you, we as Christians have got to stand up against this. And there are multiple reasons why. But first of all, let me address something that I have found to be amazingly held by some Christians, shockingly, which is that somehow Judaism itself is a false religion. Well, biblically, that can't possibly be true because Judaism was started by Moses and followed by Jesus. Now, Judaism is certainly incomplete because the Jewish Messiah came and the Jewish people in general did not receive him. First chapter of John says he came unto his own received him not. But to them that received him gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name. That's us, and of course that's many Jewish people as well, because the first apostles were all Jewish. So it's clear that Christianity began in the Jewish community, but the Jewish community at large rejected Christianity as a sect that was a sort of a break off or a break with traditional Judaism. But Jesus himself at the Last Supper says to his disciples, with desire have I desired to eat this Passover with you, meaning that he had been celebrating Passover all along. Well, Passover was a Jewish feast. It is not false, it is not wrong, but it was pointing towards something else. And therefore, it's not the full story. But to relegate Judaism into the category of Islam or Buddhism or Hinduism as some kind of false religion is really just biblically unsupportable. You can't hold that view, because Judaism, now I'm not talking about the traditions that people made of it, and Jesus, of course, criticized the scribes and Pharisees for how they made a kind of traditional idolatry out of true Judaism. So I'm not talking about that. But true Judaism, as handed down by Moses and affirmed by the prophets, is revelational. I mean, it was revealed by God. It didn't come from like the Quran, from the imagination of Muhammad. The Word of God, the Torah, and then the other books that were written by the prophets were given to us through them, but by Almighty God. So there are some people who call themselves Christians who are sort of buying into this notion that Judaism is a problem, and we are right to maybe be suspicious or not like Jews. Folks, that is about, in my view, about as unbiblical as you can get. I mean, Paul makes clear in the book of Romans, chapters 9 and 10, particularly, that we owe a debt of gratitude to the Jewish people because they are the root from which the tree of Christianity grows. There's some people who have a problem with the Jews as the chosen people. I say, well, they are the chosen people, but chosen for what? They were chosen to be the people through whom God would reveal himself to the world. And they were chosen to be the people from whom God would bring the Messiah, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Hey, folks, you cannot overstate that. In fact, and I really believe that when Jesus says a prophet is not without honor except in his own country, among his own kin, and in his own house, he was saying in part that the very people through whom he came would be the people least likely to accept him as such. So in a sense, they paid a price to be the people from whom and through whom Christ came, because they would be the people who, because of familiarity, would be the least likely to accept him as the Son of God. So we owe the Jewish people a great debt. And God has made clear that Israel is going to be saved by a remnant. Israel will never be destroyed. Israel is going to be saved. God has a promise and a covenant with Abraham, and the Jewish people are part of that covenant. Now, nobody's getting around Jesus. Don't get me wrong. Nobody is getting around Jesus. You know, they used to say, he's so high, you can't get over him, so wide, you can't get around him, and so deep that you can't get under him. I mean, so nobody is getting around Jesus. But the day is going to come. The day is going to come when the Jewish people will recognize that he is their Messiah. I said in my last trip to Israel, about a little more than a year ago now, I said to our guide, the Jewish guide, tremendous man. I said to him, I said, what? Because of course now many Jewish people are coming to realize their greatest allies are Bible-believing Christians, because of the mandate that we've been given by God to stand with the Jewish people. But I said to him, I said, what do you all, when you talk among yourselves in your quiet moments, private moments, does it ever come up that the greatest figure in human history, the most influential person who ever walked the face of the earth, happened to be a Jewish man who many of us believe is in fact the Messiah of God? Now, you may dispute, is he the Messiah? It's indisputable in my view, but you may dispute that. But what you cannot dispute is there has never been a more influential figure in human history. He kind of looked at me real sheepishly and said, we know. We know. How in the world can we as Christians, and how can we as Americans, rooted and grounded in Judeo-Christian values, be enemies of the Jewish people? We ought to be their biggest supporters. We ought to be praying for them. We ought to be loving them, supporting them. You know, they're surrounded by enemies. I just gave you just a brief survey of all of the persecution that they have suffered throughout human history since God brought the Jewish people into being. And they're not suffering and being persecuted because they're somehow more evil than others. Uh, they are suffering and being persecuted because the devil knows that they belong to God, and anything that belongs to God, he wants to destroy. He wants to destroy Christians. He wants to destroy Jews. He wants to destroy anybody who's in covenant relationship with God, just like he wanted to destroy Adam and Eve, because he knew that they were in relationship with God. Jesus said he comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And one of the things he wants to destroy is anybody's relationship with God and our relationships with one another through God. And yet, in this, our beloved country, the United States of America, we are seeing the rise of anti-Semitism in a way that I don't think we've ever seen before. I haven't studied every period in human history, but I have never read about a period in which there seemed to be a growing sentiment in many, many circles and with prominent spokespersons too. That's the other thing. You know, when you've got people who have millions of viewers who are spewing this nonsense, that makes it all the more toxic and all the more dangerous. So I don't think there's ever been a moment like this. And I think that means that we as Christians have got to stand firm in our faith. I was just reading earlier Genesis chapter 12, verses 2 and 3, where God says to Abraham, I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. And in you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. God says, I'm going to protect my people. And one of the ways I'm going to protect them is by showering blessings upon those who stand with them and cursing those who don't. And so, as Christians, we are already blessed by Almighty God. We know him, love him. We want to stand. I stand with God. There's not, there's not even any question or dispute or issue to be raised. I stand with God. Lord, where do you stand? I'm with you. I don't have to debate that. I don't need an explanation. I don't need God to sit me down and justify himself. God says, this is where I stand. I say, well, Lord, that's where I stand. As a matter of fact, I heard Keith Moore say one time during one of his teachings, he said, you know, I could be completely against doing a particular thing and thinking to myself, yeah, I'm not, I don't want to do that. I'm not, no, I'm not interested in that. You know, he said, and the Lord convicts me and says, I want you to do this. He said, and then I say, you know, Lord, I'll tell you what, I sure do look forward to that. I look forward to doing that. It's just your whole mindset changes because Lord, whatever you want, I want. Whatever you say is good, I say is good. You know, in Hebrews chapter 4, it says that we are supposed to hold fast to our confession. You know, the word confession there is the word homologeo or homologos. You know what that means? Same word. What it literally is saying is hold fast to the same thing God says. That's what it means. Say the same word God says. Lord, you said it, I say it. Isn't that what Jesus said? I say those things I hear my Father say. I do those things I see my Father do. Well, the world may not like it, but the Jewish people belong to God. And rather than joining in with this crowd that seems to be so hell bent, and I say that spiritually speaking, hell bent, because this is out of the pit of hell, on harming the Jewish people, on opposing the Jewish people. I mean, you know, we've had situations on campuses where basically Jews can't walk the campus freely without fear of being attacked, where they've set up days where they say, we don't want to see Jewish people on campus. I mean, this is monstrous. This is ridiculous. Well, look, that's in America. We can do something about what happens here in America. Not that we can control every person, but we can certainly try to set a cultural tone here to say we as Americans, we want the blessing of Genesis 12:2 on our nation and on ourselves. And we're going to stand with the Jewish people. But we also need to stand with Israel because right now, thank God we have a president who is doing something about Iran's quest for a nuclear weapon. And I know there are some people who are impatient with the process, who believe that President Trump shouldn't be doing what he's doing at all. I happen to disagree. I don't think we as Americans, since we are their primary target and then Israel is their secondary target, or maybe vice versa. But I don't think that we can afford to have a nuclear armed Iran, not in the hands of this regime. And I think to allow them to obtain nuclear weapons would be suicidal. And President Trump is doing something about it. But I'll tell you something else. They want to destroy the Jewish people. They'd have a hard time destroying us. They could hurt us. I mean, we got hurt on 9/11, so we know they could hurt us, but they'd have a hard time destroying us. But you know, Israel is so small. With a nuclear weapon, they could almost wipe Israel out in one fell swoop. And so there's another reason why we should be doing exactly what President Trump has us doing right now, which is preventing the potential annihilation of our most important ally in the Middle East. Only America is in a position to stand with Israel in this situation. I mean, to really stand with Israel and make a difference. And thank God we've got a president who is doing that. You know, the Bible teaches us that as we get further and further and further into the end times and last days, Israel and Jerusalem more and more are going to become the center of the world's focus. And the gathering for that last battle is not going to gather around Washington, D.C. They're going to gather around Jerusalem. And what we're witnessing, in my view, is a dress rehearsal. We're witnessing the spirit of Antichrist doing what the devil wants to do, leading up to what the devil wants to do, by trying to get the whole world to agree that Israel is in fact the problem and Jews are in fact the problem. If we just deal with them, solve the problems of the whole world, which again is a lie out of the pit of hell. Israel is an apartheid nation, a lie. Israel is a genocidal nation. They're committing genocide against the Palestinians, a lie. Do you know, folks, 20% of Israel, 20% of the population of Israel is Palestinian? Did you know that? And those Palestinians live in Israel in peace, prosperity. They're not bothered. They're not harassed. They're treated as fellow human beings and fellow Israeli citizens. Do you think a Jew could live in Gaza? Do you think a Jew could live in what is really Judea and Samaria? They call it the West Bank. It's really Judea and Samaria, but the Palestinians control it. You think a Jew could live there in peace? Not on your life. The Jewish people are not the problem. Ultimately, the problem is the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in high places. That's why we've got to put on the whole armor of God and stand against the wiles of the devil. No, the Jews are not the problem. And ultimately, the Palestinians and the Muslims are not the problem either. The devil is. But when people serve the devil, they become part of the tools that the devil uses to do harm to others. And that's exactly what Hamas and Hezbollah have become. Tools of the devil trying to hurt Jewish people and hurt any people who are perceived as supporting the Jewish people, like Americans. One of the forces that we have got to defeat if this nation, after 250 years, is going to have continued peace and prosperity, one of the forces that we've got to defeat is the force, the evil, the wickedness of anti-Semitism. That's not the only one. But I think that really grows out of this growing anti-God, anti-Christian spirit. That's really the root of the anti-American, anti-Jewish, really anti-biblical morality. You know, they accuse Christians of being homophobes and Islamophobes and whatever other phobia they can come up with. I say, no, the fact of the matter is these leftists and these Democrats and these worldly people are in fact Christophobes and bibliophobes. They hate the Bible and they hate Jesus Christ. And therefore they hate Christians. And they hate an America that is imbued with the values of Christianity and imbued with biblical values. That's really the issue. As I've said before, these things are often dealt with in a political arena, but they're really spiritual issues. And that's why we as Christians don't have to apologize for addressing them, because what we are doing is addressing the biblical implications of issues that others want to exclude us from by categorizing them as political issues. Jesus said to Pilate, when Pilate said, "Are you a king?" then Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews." But he made clear that he had come into this world to bear witness to the truth. He said, "All who are of the truth hear my voice." So it's true, our ultimate kingdom is not this world. But we have a role to play here. Just like Jesus, now we are his representatives. As he is, so are we in this world. 1 John, we must bear witness to the truth. Because Jesus said, of course, in John 8:32, for you to know the truth, that you shall know the truth shall make you free. And we want people to be truly liberated in this country. We want people to truly live out the blessings of liberty, as the preamble to the Constitution says. We've got to proclaim the truth. Well, folks, stick around, because this issue of anti-Semitism has broad implications, and we're going to be talking to someone from Israel about some of the things that are happening there that you and I don't know about necessarily, because the news is not reporting it. But we're going to talk to somebody from Galilee who's going to give us some things that we're not going to hear otherwise, about the place where Jesus came from. Jesus was a Galilean. What's happening in Galilee right now? Do you know? Probably not, because it's not really being talked about in those terms. But I was at the National Association of Christian Lawmakers Conference and met some folks from Israel, from the Galilean region, and we had a wonderful discussion about what's happening in Galilee right now, and they really educated me. And so we have an opportunity here on Truth and Liberty to bring you some information that you simply will not get by looking online and looking to the traditional sources. That's what we're here for, to make sure that you get the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help us God. So stand by. We've got a great guest coming up who is going to talk to us, give us a perspective that we might not otherwise get about what is going on right now outside the border of Lebanon, what Hezbollah is really doing, what Israel is really facing, and what the people of Israel are really facing as they deal with this ongoing conflict that is really stoked by Iran. Stand by, folks. This is Truth and Liberty. I'm your host, D.W. Jackson. We'll be back in just a moment.
Darkness has attacked our nation, but God is raising a standard. Now is the time to wake up and shine the light across America and around the world. Believers are fighting back, eyes are opening, hearts are changing, and Christ is being proclaimed. In government, education, family, media, and the church, we are mobilizing to engage culture with truth. Go to truthandliberty.net.
Welcome back to Truth and Liberty. I am really excited about our guest, because I was at a conference and I have an opportunity to meet lots of wonderful people, but some of the greatest people I've ever met, I met at this conference. My guest, who is the CEO of the Galilee Development Authority, Joaquin Zeke. It's one of the people I met. We had a great conversation. I love Israel, but he was talking to me specifically about the Galilee region, which I hadn't really focused on. And of course, we know how important Galilee is, of course, not only to Israel, but important to us as Christians because that's where Jesus came from. And I told him, I said, I've been to Israel 4 times. I want to come back. And they were encouraging me, well, come, let's get you back as soon as possible. But right now we've got some issues that need to be addressed. Joaquin, Zeke, welcome to Truth and Liberty. You're all the way from Israel, right? You're in Israel right now, aren't you?
I'm in Israel right now, blessing from the land of Israel, and I'm very, very happy to be here, Bishop. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, listen, it is my pleasure and my honor to have you. So first of all, look, one of the things you all educated me on when we talked at this conference was what Galilee has been going through. Because, you all were saying, everybody pays attention to Jerusalem and maybe a little bit to Tel Aviv, but, people don't really get a lot of news or focus much on Galilee. And yet, Galilee is extremely important. So talk to us a little bit about what you've been going through in the last several years as a result of the whole Hezbollah situation and then what's going on in Iran as well.
All right. So everybody knows about the Gaza conflict and the Iran conflict, but in October 7th, when the war began in Gaza, it also began in the Galilee. The Galilee is in the north of Israel. It's in the border with Lebanon and Syria. And from October 7th, 2023, there were rockets and missiles and drones on the cities and the communities in the Galilee. And while in Gaza, we had, you can say, a victory and things became quiet, in the Galilee, the war was going until a few weeks ago. It was very, very hard. A lot of communities were evacuated and now have to come back. Businesses was affected. Of course, security was affected. And now we are working very hard to get it back to life. Imagine the situation that my partner is living in the Galilee, and he every morning get out to his balcony and took pieces of drones that exploded above his house. It's a crazy situation, but we feel now, for the first time in many, many months, that the peace is coming back. Our brave soldiers of the IDF are deep in Lebanon and deep in Syria. They are keeping us safe. They're keeping Hezbollah north from the border, very far from our cities. And now we are in a great effort to bring life back to the Galilee. So as you know, the Israeli people are very resilient. And in the minute it became an option, people are coming back to life. Businesses are open again. We are hoping to see this summer Israeli tourists come back to the Galilee, but we have a lot of work for us in the next few years to bring life back as they were and take the Galilee forward, because, as you said, it's a very, very important part of Israel. It's from tourist issues and religious issues, all connected to the Galilee, and we are working very hard to get it back to life.
Joaquin, for those who may be geographically challenged, give us a little bit of a sense of what Galilee encompasses and why people should really want to visit Galilee.
All right. So first of all, Galilee is in the north of Israel. It's an amazing place because you have sea and mountains, and Sea of Galilee, of course, in the Golan Heights, the best sites, the best views, and very, very important sites. As you said, Jesus were in the Galilee. A lot of the Jewish history happened in the Galilee, the Talmudic era, the rebellions against the Romans. So we have a lot to see there. And in the Galilee also, we have a very, very dynamic population. We have Jews, of course. We have Muslims. We have Druze. It's a very, very special group of people that lives in the Galilee, and Christians. So we all live together in the Galilee. It's a very diverse area. And when you get there, you get the sense of another Israel experience. We're talking a lot about people come to Israel and getting the Israel experience. And we say, if you come to the Galilee, you get the Galilee experience. It's a whole new experience of Israel and understanding of the Israel people and the Israel issues. And of course, the connection to the Bible and to our faith. So it's a very, very special place.
Now, there are some obviously historical sites in Galilee. And what are some of those? The cities, towns?
Of course, Sea of Galilee. Nazareth is in the Galilee. Capernaum, Hippos, a lot of Christianity beginning sites. And also we have the Mediterranean, we have the Golan Heights. It's a very beautiful and special place. So these are just on the tip of my mind, the sites that we have in the Galilee. A lot of sites, also scenic and historic.
The last time I was in Israel, I had the privilege of visiting the Golan Heights and looking over the from the Golan Heights and seeing, I mean, you're right, it is absolutely stunningly beautiful. What is it going to take to get people back? Because you said a lot of people had to be evacuated because of the bombing, and even maybe they're coming back slowly. What's the long-term resolution for this? I mean, Hezbollah they seem to be bent on trying to, of course, attack the Jewish people. What is it going to take to get Galilee back to where, obviously, you as Galilee Development CEO want it to be?
So the first thing is security. For security to Galilee, we understand that the IDF got to take Hezbollah and push it back from the border, to be in Lebanon and in Syria and push our enemies back, that they couldn't hurt the communities, the civilian communities. So this is the situation now. We have a lot of pressure on the Israeli government to withdraw from Lebanon and come back to the border. And we understand that if there will be no buffer zone between the Hezbollah terrorists and the civilians of Israel, another October 7th, it can happen every day. The second thing is the Iran situation, because who funded and taught Hezbollah how to fight is the Iranian regime. And if they will go back to sponsor Hezbollah, so we have a very tough situation in the Galilee. But as things are now, we are in a very, very much better situation than we were a few weeks ago, because the Lebanese government understood that Hezbollah is a bad thing for Lebanon, and they have to do everything they can to push it out of Lebanon. And our brave soldiers are in Lebanon, keeping them far away. So we hope that quiet and peace are coming to the Galilee.
You know, when I was in Israel, I met a number of IDF soldiers, and they were so thrilled that we were there visiting Israel, because I know Israel is always glad to have visitors coming who love Israel, want to see Israel, want to interact with the people. It was really a wonderful experience for me. Every time I've gone, it's been a wonderful experience. Talk to us then a little bit about something you mentioned earlier, because I'd said in my monologue before you came on, you know, a Jewish person cannot live in Palestinian territory, but Palestinians live in Israel. Christians live in Israel. Muslims live in Israel. So Israel is a place where everybody can live freely, but the surrounding areas are not places where Jews can live freely. Is that an accurate assessment?
Very accurate assessment. When you go to the Galilee, you're going from a Jewish town to a mixed town to a Muslim town to a Druze town to a Christian town. Everybody lives together, most of the time in peace of harmony. Of course, there's sometimes not the best situations, but most of the time, the peace and quiet, we're living together in harmony. And when you go, of course, to Lebanon or Syria, Jews can't live there. And also in the Palestinian Authority towns, Jews can't live there and can't even get in there, not to visit. So, of course, the Israel government and the state of Israel is a place where everybody can find his place. We have freedom of religion. Everybody can practice his faith. And it's not like that on the other side of the border. And I can tell you, I want to tell you something very important that you mentioned, that you saw the soldiers and they were very happy to see. We have to understand, people of the Israel people get a lot of hatred in the web and the social media and so on. And when we understand that a lot of people abroad loves us and cares for us, it's very, very heartwarming and moving. When I met you, it was an amazing experience because we saw, wow, people loves us, people are with us, and we are not used to it. So every time we see it, it fills our heart. And when you and your audience will come to the Galilee, you will see, we'll get you with open hands, and we hug you, and we are waiting for you. It's very, very important for us, and give us a lot of strength and resilience to keep our fight against evil.
Well, look, I am looking forward to it. Now, there's been some, of course, pushback, and I'm sure some, I won't even bother to mention their names again, but there's some people in our country, very prominent people, who have all these conspiracy theories about Israel and the Jewish people, the same old canards we've heard throughout history. But there are a lot of people, as you said, who support Israel and stand with Israel. Now, one of the things I've said is, Americans wouldn't allow anybody to tell us what to do about our own security. Why should we be dictating to Israel and telling Israel what they can and cannot do to protect the security of their own country? That's the sentiment that I bring to the table, and I think a lot of Americans share it. Not all do. But what's your assessment in terms of pressure? Well, we get out of Lebanon and get out of Syria, rather than, look, you do what you need to do in order to secure the safety and security for the people of Israel, the same way we would do for the safety and security of Americans.
Tell you that, first of all, our first lesson from October 7th was our security is in our top. Is the most important thing. We won't let anything interrupt with that, even the pressure from abroad. And if we understand that for our security, we have to be in Lebanon, we'll be in Lebanon and we'll pay the prices for it. But I think that who really understand the situations, understand that the fighting of Israel in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Syria, it's not just fighting for Israel. It's fighting for Western civilizations. The radical Islamic regimes don't want just to eliminate Israel. They want to eliminate the United States of America. Mm-hmm. So we are in it together. Our soldiers in Lebanon fight for Israel, but they also fight for the United States of America. And your brave soldiers in Iran, they are fighting also for the United States, of course, but also for Israel and for all the Western civilization. We can see in Europe, they don't get it. They don't get it. They think, well, no, we can make peace with radical Islam. They don't understand that if they won't fight, they won't stand up against it, they will be eliminated. So we believe that our soldiers are fighting in the same battle that U.S. soldiers fighting in Iran and other places around the world to keep Western civilization safe.
Joaquin, in an earlier program, I had a former Muslim who converted. He became a Christian, and he was sharing what he was taught in Islam. He's an Iranian Muslim, but he was sharing what he was taught. And he said he was taught to hate Jews. He was taught to hate Christians. He said, and there's no way you can negotiate with people who think that way. They think that their job in life is to kill Jews or to kill Christians. In this case, particularly the Jews who are they're close to them, that they really focus on. And he said, you can't negotiate your way out of that situation. The only thing they will understand is force that drives them back and makes them realize there's a price to pay for trying to hurt Jewish people. Now, I was there. I don't know, I guess a few months after October 7th, we went in and we visited some of the kibbutzim where these attacks occurred. I got the feeling, Joaquin, that October 7th was a wake-up call for Israel to realize, too, that your security is really paramount, and you simply can't take anything for granted. Did it change the nation at all?
Change the nation all 180 degrees, because for many, many years, the mainstream in Israel said, we want peace with the Arab, let's try to make peace. And it didn't work. There was always terror attacks, but nothing like October 7th. So we tried again and again and again. And we came out from the Gaza Strip and said, let them live peacefully. And what we got back is October 7th. And since then, the Israeli people understand that the only thing they can defeat radical Islam is to be stronger and to fight them always. Don't let them get their heads up, because in the minute they can, they will hurt us and will try to eliminate us. I can tell you, I'm a reserve soldier, reserve officer. I war in Gaza. And when we get to the houses in Gaza, we found books of little kids, school books. And you can see there in their school books, we have nice stories and sun and flowers and all kind of that thing. They have stories about how to kill Jews, how to murder Jews, how to bomb buses and kill little children. And you can say they're getting it from their childhood. So the only thing that can beat it is to be stronger than them. And thanks God, we are stronger than them. You can see it. We took a very, very hard shot in October 7th. It was a shock and a trauma, but we rise up and we will beat all our enemies in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Syria, in Iran. We have, of course, the help of our friends from the United States to help us to win this war. And as I said, the winning of Israel in this war is a message to the radical Islam all around the globe. You will not defeat us. We will stand and we will win. You can hurt us, but you won't win, because God is on our side, and we have the strength to go and beat you. So it's a message that echoes all around the globe, and I believe that in a few years we will see it. We'll see the radical Islam understand that he tried and he failed, and we'll go back to be silent for a very, very long period.
And Joaquin, let me say that as a supporter of Israel, I was invited to the ambassador's residence, Israel's ambassador to the United States residence up in Washington, D.C., shortly after October 7th to get a private briefing and to be shown some of the horrible footage of what really happened, things that most people never saw, and the viciousness, the utter horror of what was done is something that made an impression on me as well, and made me think, man, we have got to really stand with Israel, because Israel is always trying to figure out how not to hurt innocent people, how to defend themselves and not hurt innocent people. And your enemies are trying to figure out how to hurt innocent people. And so you really got something on your hands there. And the American people really need to understand that we can't afford to compromise in our commitment and our stand with Israel. What would you say to Americans right now who would say, well, you know, it's a conflict and there are two sides to every story and this, that, and the other? What would you say to the American people?
I will tell them that the Israeli people paid a very high price to try to get peace. We tried it. The Oslo Accords and the Gaza evacuation, we tried to make peace with those people. And what we got back is October 7th. So you fooled me once, shame on you. You fooled me twice, shame on me. We're not letting them fool us again. And it's a very hard situation. We don't enjoy to fight. We don't enjoy to go to war. It's very hard. As a soldier, I'm telling you, we are paying a high price for our fighting, but we understand there is no other choice. We tried it. It's failed miserably, and And this is the situation. We just have to fight and fight again until we win.
Well, obviously, we as Americans and certainly Christians are praying for Israel and praying for the Jewish people. By the way, not only in Israel but here as at home, as you know, since we've got this rising anti-Semitism that seems to be rearing its ugly head on our college campuses and other places. So obviously, we're praying for the Jewish people. How else can Americans help? I know tourism is one way. Anything else that you think Americans could do to help bring it ultimately a resolution to this so that the people of Israel can live in peace?
First of all, come and visit. We are waiting for you. Come and learn, come to see for yourself.
Okay.
And I believe
Okay.
it's a very, very beautiful experience that everybody should do once in a lifetime, at least. You've been 4 times, you understand you have to come to the 5th time. There's a lot to see and learn. Second of all, be an advocate for Israel in your community, in the social media. Don't let the anti-Semites make the tone. You will make the tone. You will stand with Israel. You advocate for it. And I believe that advocating for Israel is advocating for the United States of America. It's not, you can't split it. We are on the same side. So wherever you are going, talk good about Israel. That is the most important thing. We can see that hate is rising everywhere in the streets and in the social media. So fight back.
Well, Joaquin, I have to tell you, every time I hear one of these canards, Israel controls American foreign policy, and I heard people say Israel controls the White House, it just makes me angry because, these are the same old canards we've heard throughout history against the Jewish people, that somehow there's some grand conspiracy and the Jews are behind it. I mean, it's first of all, just silly, but it's also very, very hateful. And tries to promote this notion that somehow the Jewish people are the cause of all of our problems. And we know we saw that happen in World War II, and we know where that leads. Does it help to have a president who understands that and is willing to put force behind standing with the Jewish people? Because frankly, we haven't always had that.
Of course, it's very helpful. It's very, very significant for the state of Israel. We saw what happened when they didn't have this kind of president. It was very hard. We still stand. Israel is strong. But when we have American backup, of course, it's very, very meaningful for us. First of all, in the reality, we have bombs and tanks and help from the United States. And it's important also it's also important that we have this backup spiritually. We feel that we are not alone, that someone is with us, they understand us, we share the same Judeo-Christian values, and we are not alone in this battle. It's giving us force. When you hear those talking, you are, all right, we'll stand strong. We are not alone. It's very, very important.
Well, I can tell you, Joaquin, we are with you. We're with Israel. We're with the Jewish people. We've heard all the lies. Frankly, we are immune to them. And we know that the people are telling them because they're interested not only, as you put it so very well, they're not only interested in destroying Israel, they're interested in destroying the United States of America as well. Joaquin, man, as always, it's been a pleasure to get to know you. I'm looking forward to coming to Israel, to coming to Galilee, and spending some time with you there. It's going to happen. We're going to make it happen. In fact, I'm going to believe God to bring some people with me so that some others. By the way, I meant to say this to you. Every time I've been to Israel, it changes me. I mean, it impacts me. And I've been 4 times, but every time I go, I come back and it's like, wow, it's such an enriching and spiritually reviving experience. I don't know how to explain it to people, You've got to go and
I'll tell you how to
experience it for
explain it.
yourself.
Tell them, open the Torah, open the Bible, and it said there that the eyes of God are on this land from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. When you are coming here, you're under the eyes of God. Is watching you and give you a special spiritual trance. And when you come here, you can just feel it. You can just feel it in the air.
Oh man, the last time I was there, Joaquin, speaking of Galilee, I got in a boat to cross the Sea of Galilee, and I can still feel the air. I can still feel the waves. It was such, I mean, first of all, it's very, very beautiful. Number one, it was a beautiful day. It was very, very beautiful. But then you think about the spiritual significance of Galilee. And you know, and of course, for us Christians, Jesus is the focus, but all the things that have happened in that area of historical significance. I mean, it is an amazing area because, frankly, in some ways, the whole world has tried to put its imprint on Jerusalem and Israel, and yet the Jewish people remain because, as you said, the eyes of God are on the land of Israel.
Exactly.
My friend, it's been a pleasure. So thank you for taking time all the way from Israel, folks. Thank you for taking time to join us. And obviously, we will be talking again.
Thank you so much, Bishop.
Because I'm coming to Galilee.
Yeah. Well, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to meet the friends of Israel and the Galilee. As I told you, every time we meet people that support Israel, it's giving us forces. So keep doing it, and we are waiting for you and your delegation in the Galilee, and for all your audience. Just come to Israel, come to the Galilee. We'll get you for open-handed. We'll have, first of all, you will have fun. It's important also, and you have your spiritual experience. As we said, God's eyes is on this area, so we are waiting for you.
Amen. Well, Joaquin, thank you so much. We will be in touch soon.
Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you for taking time to join us here at Truth and Liberty. Well, folks, he's talking about fun going to Israel. It's just fun talking to him because, you know, you really know God is doing something at this moment in history. And I really believe that part of what God is doing is solidifying his plans for Israel. And once again, I say I thank God for President Trump because he seems to be like the sons of Issachar, understands the times and knows what to do. Well, folks, thank you for joining us here at Truth and Liberty. It's always a pleasure. And you know what we have to do in all the challenges that we face: stand up, step up, speak up, and refuse to back up because we cannot be defeated if we will not quit, because we are on God's side. God bless everybody. Thanks for joining us at Truth and Liberty.